Hello, it's Shawnee. Welcome back and happy holidays. Today I am doing yet another collab with my girl Dion, even though she was side-eyeing me in her last video. We decided to do a video on our 10 favorite makeup brushes. Now, I do believe Dion and I did a similar collab a while ago, but we noticed that people on her channel and my channel have been asking about brushes, and so we thought, why don't we revisit this topic and update you all on what our favorite brushes are. Now, what will be different is that Dion will be focusing on synthetic hair brushes and I will be focusing on natural hair brushes. Now, in reality, I use natural and synthetic hair brushes. I use both every time that I do my makeup because there are some things I prefer to use synthetic hair brushes with and some I prefer to use natural hair brushes with. So, I got into the natural hair brush game like a couple years ago. Before, I was just using synthetic hair brushes, and the more I learned about natural hair brushes, I was like, oh, I kind of want to try some of these. And there are some differences. Now, I do want to tell you a little bit about the differences before I show you what my favorites are. So I looked up a little bit of information so that I could explain things to you clearly rather than me just being like, I don't know. So, natural hair brushes are made of animal hair. It's often sable or squirrel or goat or even fox. And for this reason, they tend to be much more expensive than synthetic brushes. The real hair offers a soft feel and makes blending really easy. Also, just like the hair on our heads, the natural hair on the makeup brush contains cuticles which help lift and absorb powdery pigment and blend them seamlessly across the face. And it often helps to create a more natural look. Now, natural hair brushes are best used for applying powder-based makeup products such as eyeshadow, powder, like finishing powder, setting powder, blushes, bronzers, all of those things that are powder. Now, synthetic makeup brushes are typically made of man-made materials. Why it gotta be man? It could be like anybody, non-gender, like binary. Anyway, nylon, Taklon, or polyester are some popular fibers that are used. They're not as soft as natural hair makeup brushes typically, but they are definitely more easily accessible and more affordable because these materials are kind of just everywhere. What we know, according to the information I found, is that synthetic hair brushes are unique in that the bristles naturally gravitate toward each other, allowing for a more precise, smooth, and streak-free application. Faux hair brushes are also great for liquid products. So your foundations, your cream, blushes, and gel liner. The synthetic hairs are not as porous as the natural hair brushes, and so they don't soak up too much makeup or get gunky and gross. Now, the other thing that I learned once I started buying natural hair brushes is that you don't want to wash the natural hair brush as much as you can wash the synthetic hair brush because overwashing them, or using harsh chemicals can really dry out the natural hair. Honestly, if you are someone of African descent and you have natural hair, you totally get it. It's just like caring for our hair on a regular basis. That's how you care for your natural hair brushes. So that was actually really easy for me. Now, because you're not going to want to wash the natural hair brushes all the time, what can be helpful is to have like a towel that you can wipe your brush across after each use so that you're not building up a lot of product. This towel is from Sonia G, which I really like. I have about like 6 of these towels laying around. So when I use one of my natural hair brushes, I can take it after I've applied whatever product I'm using and just wipe across, and it gets out any excess product that might be on there, and that helps to kind of extend the longevity between washes as well. When I wash my brushes, there are a couple of things I will use. Sometimes I will use the Anissa Beauty brush shampoo, and I really like that one. Or I will use the what's it called, Beauty Blender charcoal sponge. Sometimes I even use baby shampoo. So I like to use something that's gentle and also something that's not super scented. With my synthetic hair brushes, I put those things through the ringer. I'll use the same shampoos or soaps to wash the synthetic hair brushes, but also sometimes I will use that big old Cinema Secrets, that blue thing, and just dip my brush in there and wipe off anything, as well as sometimes using a spray, like a daily brush cleaner kind of thing. This one is from Sephora and I really like it. So the synthetic hair brushes, just like synthetic hair, girl, can take a bit more of, you know, being run through the ringer, while your natural hair brushes are a bit more high maintenance. You want to make sure that you take care of them properly so that you can use them for a long time. Okay? Okay, so let me tell you my favorites. I pulled them all out, I believe. Let's see here. Yep, okay. So there are like 3 main brands that I get my natural hair brushes from. If you do want to know about my synthetic hair brushes, let me know, and I can do a follow-up after you watch Dion's video. So I tend to buy Sonia G, Wayne Goss, and Refer. I do have a couple of other brands, but these are the ones I have several brushes or entire collections of brushes from. So let me go ahead and jump in. Now, Sonia G has a lot of my favorite brushes, and I really just like the make of them. They're just like sleek. I love supporting a woman-run business. I'm here for it. And there is a collection she recently came out with that is the Fusion collection. Now, most of her brushes are natural hair bristles, but the Fusion collection is a fusion between natural bristles and synthetic. So the great thing about that is that you can use them for liquids. Now, a lot of people, I'm assuming, it's kind of frustrating because your natural hair brushes, you really don't want to use them with liquids, but this Fusion collection from Sonia G, like, she fixed the problem. She saved the makeup world. So some of those are in my favorites here. My favorite natural hair foundation brush is actually from the Fusion collection, and it is called the Jumbo Base. Now, what I like about this brush, one, it is a blend of synthetic and natural hairs, and what I really enjoy is this slant here, because I feel like that allows me to get into the corners and things like that, but it's also large enough that I can just swipe on my foundation, or I can pat it in, I can buff it in. The shape of the brush just allows me to apply my foundation the way that I want to. Now, I typically use this for liquid foundation. I also use it for creams. I'll even use it with my Janessa Myricks Blurring Balm. And it's pretty dense, but it's also very flexible and movable. This is just one of my all-time favorite brushes, period. So this is the Fusion collection Jumbo Base brush, and it is like one of 3 foundation brushes that is always in rotation. So that is one. Now, I'm not necessarily giving these in any sort of rank order, just giving you my top 10. Another one from the Fusion collection is the Classic Base. So you can see that this is a bit smaller than the Jumbo Base, Jumbo Classic. What I like to use this for is for my cream, bronzer, or contour. I think some people could probably use this for foundation if you like a smaller, like more targeted kind of application, but that reason is why I like it for bronzer and contour, especially my cream ones. I have probably more cream, bronzer, and contour than I have powder right now. So this has a smaller brush head, but what I like is that even though it's densely packed like the Jumbo Base, it is also pretty movable. Again, since it is from the Fusion collection, it is a it has both natural and synthetic hairs to make up the brush head. I like that I can dip right into my bronzer or contour and I can really have a targeted application, and it's just going to slide on seamlessly, and I can also buff it in as, you know, however I want to. And yeah, I like every time I'm using cream bronzer or contour, I'm using this brush. So again, these are both from the Fusion collection and two that I use pretty regularly. Now, a third brush is the Inochigi Pro, and this is from the Pro line from Sonia G. I really just love the sleek handle. This brush is just pretty to me. Like, look at it. Now, this is not part of the Fusion collection. This is part of her Pro collection. I'm not a pro, but I bought it anyway. Now, what I like to use this brush for, because it has this more tapered look to it, or brush head, I really do like tapered brushes, especially if I want a more targeted application. So this I use for like my powder bronzer and contour, or even sometimes my powder blush. I like it because it's so easy to just sweep across the cheek. Like, that feels very Hollywood, right? I love that I can use it this way, or I can use it in a more targeted way if I like. So I can just dip into whatever products I have and place it on my cheek, or I can buff it in. And if I'm using bronzer or contour, I can use the tip, that tapered tip, and I can place it where I want. And I can also just go back in and buff it out. So I really enjoy a tapered brush for my powder, bronzer, contour, or blush, just because it gives me an easier placement. And also I don't necessarily go overboard, because the brush it's picking up enough product, but it's not like picking up too much. So I really like that I can just go in and buff in and make everything really seamless. On the other hand, here is the Face Pro. So this is another part of the Pro collection. I really like this brush. Again, it has that slant, and it is like a fluffy slanted brush. And I did not realize I would like this so much. This is another one that I will use, especially for if I just want faster application of one of my powder products. So if I want a faster application of blush or of contour or bronzer, whatever, I can just dip in there and easily just get it on pretty quickly. So this is not going to give me as targeted an application as this tapered brush, because you can definitely see the difference, right? This is a larger brush head, and this one is one that you can just really go in specifically where you want to. This, I think, is good if you just want to get stuff on your face, and I would often use this for all over powder until I got the next brush I'm going to talk about. And that is the Niji Pro. So again, from the Pro collection. This brush, I think you can use this brush for so many different things. I've really enjoyed using it as all over setting powder. So I will use it with most often my pressed setting powder, the one that I have from Charlotte Tilbury, but I can use it with loose powder also. I've got some powder in the cup. Is this a cup? The lid. And I'm just swirling that around and just, it's like a large face brush and it feels so soft. Like it just feels so good on my skin. I really do like this for all over powder. But I know that people will often use it, again, for like bronzer or for contour. I like to use larger brushes for all over powder, and so this is just perfect for me. And I like that since it does have this sort of kind of flat then fluffing out design, I can also get in there and place powder like right under my eyes if I want, or if I just want to place it just, you know, like this over my face, or I can go in and I can just buff it in, or I can just really do whatever. So this is a brush that I tend to use as like my finishing touch for my powder and kind of setting everything on my face. So these are the Sonia G brushes that I talked about. We have the Jumbo Base from the Fusion Collection, which I love for foundation. Again, the Fusion Collection is a blend of synthetic and natural hairs. Then we have the Classic Base, which I do like to use for bronzer and contour, or even sometimes cream blush. Again, since it's from the Fusion Collection, it's a blend of synthetic and natural hairs. And then these three are from the Pro collection. We have this tapered brush, which is the Inochigi Pro. I really like this for my powder, bronzer, and contour. We also have the Face Pro, which I like for a more diffused kind of application of those same products, powder, bronzer, contour, blah, blah. And then we have the Niji Pro, which I like to use as an all-over face brush to set my face. Now, I have a Wayne Goss brush that is in my faves, and it is the Airbrush. That's like just the name of it. I never see this on sale anymore. Like, it's just always sold out. This brush, I really do like a tapered brush, and this is a tapered brush that is a bit flatter. Now, remember like the paddle brushes we used to all use, like that MAC paddle brush to put on our foundation? This is sort of like the natural hair version of it. So again, since it has natural hairs, you you want to just stick to powder products with it. This isn't a blend of hairs, synthetic and natural. These are all natural. So I really like this to set my under eyes. I can dip right into a powder because it is super flexible and it's really soft, and I can just go in and place the powder where I want it. It just gives a very soft, like airbrushed feel, and the brush just feels really nice. Like this brush is so soft. Like, I don't even know how he was able to do that. I do have some other Wayne Goss brushes, but I would say that this is probably my favorite of the bunch. And if I am wanting to, set my under eyes with some powder, this is the type of brush that I like to use. Something that's tapered, but has a bit, like, it's not super fluffy. It's just sort of the perfect kind of density. And I do like that it's flexible, so I can get into the corners here without any problem. Now, I have 4 types of eye brushes that I pulled out, and this is where a lot of my Rephr brushes come in. I use Rephr eyeshadow brushes like daily. I really do prefer their eyeshadow brushes over their face brushes. I think I like my Sonia G face brushes the most. Now, Refer does do natural hair brushes. They are more affordable than your Sonia G and your Wayne Goss brushes. So with that in mind, I'm kind of more okay with like really putting my Refer brushes through the ringer than I am with like doing that with my Sonia G or my Wayne Goss. And also, there's like always a sale on Refer brushes, whereas there's like never a sale on Sonia G brushes, and she takes forever to like reproduce brushes. And I get it, she has like these skilled top of the line artisans that are like literally crafting the brushes. That also means it takes time and it takes more of your money. So I can really appreciate Refer for being good brushes in a more affordable price range. I've seen some of the Refer brushes be the same price as some of my synthetic hair brushes, and I just love their eye brushes. I have multiples of several of them. So the first one is the number 16. Now, I feel like I always need some sort of fluffy brush. So there is a bit of a taper, but it's a fluffy brush that is so good for going into your eyeshadow and just applying like at the outer corner. Really good for that. You can go in and just sweep a shadow all over your lid very easily. I like the matte black finish of it. I know like my friend Tracy doesn't like the matte black with the white brushes or bristles, but I like it. These are also very, very, very similar to some of Wayne Goss's brushes. I want to say a lot of them are like numbered very similarly as well. I can like never find some of Wayne Goss's brushes on sale. I don't understand, or just anywhere. So Refer is a really good solid choice, I think. The brushes are really good. Now, if I put them up against my Sonia G or my Wayne Goss, I don't know. They're gonna come in a little after those. But I literally use Refer brushes daily. Every time I do my makeup, I'm probably using the number 16, and I'm most often using the number 2. Now, this is a shorter brush, and it has a different brush head. This has more of a flat kind of paddle design to it. I really like to use this brush for shimmers. I can just wipe right across the shimmer and put it onto my eye. It translates so well, and I need these. Like, I have several of the number 2 brushes. I have several of the number 16 brushes. Anytime there's a sale, I probably pick up 2 or 3 of these just because I use them daily. Now, I didn't use this one today because I don't have any shimmer on, but anytime I have on a shimmer, I most likely have used the Refer number 2, or there's another one that I like to use which has bristles are really good for picking up more creamy kind of consistencies, but this one in my regular like everyday eyeshadow palettes, this is the brush that I use to apply my shimmers. I also am a fan of a good winged liner, and also I like to just line my upper and lower lash lines with color or a pencil. If I'm wanting to use an eyeshadow to do that, I often will be using the Refer number 29. So this is just a very small like eyeliner brush, essentially. It has some flexibility, but it's pretty firm. I can just tap into whatever powder shadow I have, and I can easily create a kind of buffed out look of a line under here, or I've also used it to go in and make a wing. So I really like this brush, and I'm often using this again pretty daily. I don't have multiples of this one just because I also have other liner brushes too, but yeah, this is one that I really enjoy. And then I will end with the Sonia G Classic crease brush, and this is from her Sky collection. So the Sky ones are the ones with the blue handles and the Pro ones are the ones with like the red handle. Also the Fusion ones have like a red handle. Now I like this crease brush because it again has that tapered look to it, but it is more pointed, and I can get right into my crease and blend shadow there. I never really know what shape and such my eyes are. All I know is what works for me and what doesn't. And having a tapered crease brush like this really helps to get into the folds and such of my eyes. So I really like the classic crease. She did come out with a Fusion eye collection. Those are okay, but honestly, I like the Sky and the Pro eye sets much more than I like the Fusion ones. So those are the 4 eye brushes, natural hair, that are in my top 10. So those are my 10 favorite natural hair brushes. Let me know if you would like me to do my favorite synthetic ones. I think Dion and I have different brands, so you could always compare and contrast in terms of the synthetic brushes we like. But again, I really love my natural hair brushes. I definitely can tell a difference when I use natural hair brushes versus my synthetic hair brushes in applying my makeup. And I also will say that there are some products that work much better with the synthetic ones. So you definitely want to check out Dion's videos so you can hear what she likes and what she recommends. And yeah, I think that's it. I hope that some of this was helpful. I also hope that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.